If we shift the focus on why we're here, the who we are, what we do, and why we matter will shine through. And ladies, let's please get there. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Your leadership at National Headquarters keeps our organization continually moving forward, and you have brought together a magnificent staff. Thank you. Would Rosie Blakesley from the Department of Minnesota please come to the podium and present the National President's Scrapbook?
Well, President Chris, I feel like I've traveled with you. And I'm going to present to you Volume 1 out of 10.
Wow, it is beautiful. Oh, look at that. Thank you. Is that all you're saying? Rosie got 26,000 pictures this year, plus Doug Mallin's 15,000. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't wait to get home and go through this and relive the year. And I know I've made friends all across the country, and because of what Rosie's done, I'll be able to always remember what we did together to honor the service of our veterans. Thank you. Excuse me. I am pleased to introduce the members of the very hard-working of the Resolutions Committee. Terry Porter, Chairman, Georgine Sputman, Vice Chairman, and Sue Britton, Member. Thank you, ladies. Are there any resolutions? Are there any resolutions?
Yes, ma'am, there are. Madam President, before we consider the 42 housekeeping resolutions, I would like to make note of 2 typos that need to be corrected. In housekeeping resolution number 1, in the 4th whereas clause, we need to strike the last word and in its place insert the words now therefore be it. Doesn't change anything but how we read it. The second typo is in housekeeping resolution number 25. In the resolve clause, please strike the words repealed and. It will then read that the following resolutions be removed.
If there's no objection, is there any objection to correcting these typos? If there is no objection, the typos will be corrected.
Madam National President, the Resolutions Committee proposes that all housekeeping resolutions that have received a recommendation to be adopted in their pre-convention committee meeting be bundled and considered in one vote. Ladies, that would include all housekeeping resolutions except for number 2, number 6, and number 21.
If there is no objection, all housekeeping resolutions except for resolution number 2, number 6, and number 21 will be bundled and considered for one vote. Is there any objection?
Madam President, on behalf of the Resolutions Committee, I move the adoption of all housekeeping resolutions except for numbers 2, 6, and 21.
It has been moved and adopted. It has been moved to adopt all housekeeping resolutions except for 2, 6, and 21. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please stand. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor of all housekeeping resolutions except for number 2, 6, and 21, please press number 1 on your electronic voting keypad. All opposed, please press number 2 on your electronic voting keypad. Please, the voting is now closed. Please show the results. Oh. The affirmative has it, and all housekeeping resolutions except for 2, 6, and 21 are adopted. Terry, please continue.
Housekeeping resolution number 2 was submitted by the Special Committee on Documents. The subject is Policies and Procedures Revision, National President. It reads as follows. Whereas it is necessary to update the Policies and Procedures book of the policies and mandates of the organization, and whereas many of those mandates and policies are no longer relevant and should be extracted from the document, now therefore be it resolved by the American Legion Auxiliary assembled in Indianapolis, Indiana, August 27th through the 30th, 2012, that the following resolution be repealed and removed from the Policies and Procedures document. Under the heading of National President Briefing number 5. Resolve that each year the candidate or candidates for National President for the ensuing year shall meet with the National Secretary, National Treasurer, and the Finance Committee for a briefing not to exceed 2 days at a time agreed upon by those named in the resolution. And be it further resolved that the Finance Committee shall budget funds for travel expense for this briefing, and the National Secretary shall be authorized to take care of the necessary correspondence pertaining to this meeting. That was done by the Resolutions Committee, National Convention, 1978, New Orleans. Also resolved that the candidate or candidates for National President for the ensuing year be consulted as to their preference of accommodations and also other details pertaining to the conference if elected National President. That one, also Resolutions Committee, National Convention, 1978, New Orleans, Louisiana. The Pre-Convention Committee on Resolutions recommends that this resolution not be adopted. Madam President, on behalf of the Resolutions Committee, I move the adoption of Housekeeping Resolution number 2 as just read.
The question is on the adoption of the Housekeeping Resolution number 2 as just read. The Pre-Convention Committee on Resolutions recommends the resolution not be adopted. Is there any discussion? The Chair recognizes the delegate at microphone number 4.
Carol Van Kirk, Department of Nebraska. I rise in opposition to removal of this policy. The policy was established to give the National Vice President 2 days to go into national headquarters for the purposes of planning with staff for her upcoming year. This should be adequate time if their thoughts and ideas are prepared in advance. The process was successful from 1978 until at least 2007. In the last few years, 3 and 4 upcoming leaders have been authorized into Indianapolis to do long-term planning. It creates an unnecessary expense, and I believe that is when we lost some individual personality in our organization. With today's technology, it is easier than ever for candidates and staff to confer on any issue. Rather than remove this policy established by our predecessors to conform to how some candidates or staff may desire, I feel this policy should be retained and followed in the future.
Is there any further discussion? I'd like to give a clarifying statement. As it currently is, the National Vice President comes in for 5 days during the week of Veterans Day. She meets with staff and she represents the National President at the Indianapolis Veterans Day activities. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, are you ready for the vote? Please stand. All those in favor of Housekeeping Resolution number 2, please press the number 1 key on your electronic voting keypad. All those opposed, please press the number 2 key on your electronic voting keypad. Please close the voting. Please show the results. Those in favor is 234, opposed 373. The opposed has it, and the resolution is not adopted.
Madam National President, Housekeeping Resolution Number 6 was submitted by the Special Committee on Documents. The subject is Policies and Procedures Revision, Energy Committee. It reads as follows. Whereas it is necessary to update the Policies and Procedures Book of Policies and Mandates of the organization, and whereas many of those mandates and policies are no longer relevant and should be extracted from the document, now, therefore, be it resolved by the American Legion Auxiliary assembled in Indianapolis, Indiana, August 27 through 30, 2012, that the following resolution be repealed and removed from the Policies and Procedures document. Energy Committee, page 63. At the 1978 National Convention in New Orleans, the American Legion passed a resolution calling for the creation of a committee to study the problems of energy crisis in the nation. Shortly after the National Convention, the National Commander called the National President, at that time Mrs. Alvin Moulton, asking for the establishment of a similar committee in the auxiliary. The committee was first appointed in 1978-79 administration. The delegates to the 1980 National Convention in Boston passed an amendment to the bylaws, Article 5, Section 2, committees, which amendment added the Energy Committee to the list of standing committees in the auxiliary. Note, at the February 1981 National Executive Committee meeting in Washington, D.C., the following recommendation was passed and referred to the Constitution and Bylaws Committee, and the change was subsequently made. 1, recommended that the Energy Committee become a subcommittee of the Standing Committee on National Security, and the Standing Committee on National Security be increased with 1 additional member appointed. The Pre-Convention Resolution Committee recommends it be adopted with an amendment. Madam President, on behalf of the Resolutions Committee, I move the adoption of Resolution Number 6 as just read.
The question is on the adoption of Resolution Number 6 as just read. The Pre-Convention Resolutions Committee recommends the resolution be adopted with amendment. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
Where are you?
Number 3.
The chair recognizes the delegate at microphone number 3.
On behalf of the Pre-Convention Resolutions Committee, I move that Housekeeping Resolution Number 6 be amended with the addition of the following. It's an additional reserved clause, and be it resolved clause, and be it further resolved that the removal of the Energy Committee from bylaws, Article 5, Section 2 in 1981 is affirmed.
The amendment reads, on behalf of the Pre-Convention Resolutions Committee, Housekeeping Resolution Number 6 be amended with the addition of the following, and be it further resolved that the removal of the Energy Committee from bylaws, Article 5, Section 2 in 1981 is affirmed. Is there a second? It has been moved and seconded. Are you ready for the question? Please stand. Those in favor of the amendment that the removal of the Energy Committee from bylaws, Article 5, Section 2 in 1981 is affirmed, please press 1. Opposed, please press 2. Voting is closed. Please show the results. The amendment passed with 553 in favor, 46 opposed. Now we'll vote on the question. Is there any discussion? The question is on the adoption of resolution number 6 as just read. The Pre-Convention Resolution Committee recommends the resolution be adopted with amendment. Is all in favor? Please stand. All in favor, please press number 1. Opposed, number 2. Please close the voting and show the results. The affirmative has it, 614, 33 opposed, and the amendment has been adopted. Terry, please continue.
Madam President, the resolution number 21 was submitted again by the Special Committee on Documents. The subject is Policies and Procedures Revision, National Convention. It reads as follows. Whereas it is necessary to update the Policies and Procedures Book of Policies and Mandates of the organization, and whereas many of those resolutions directed amendments to the Constitution and bylaws or standing rules which have been done and should be extracted from the document now therefore be it resolved by the American Legion Auxiliary assembled in Indianapolis, Indiana, August 27 through 30, 2012, that the attached permanent organization section and the resolution on date and place be removed from the Policies and Procedures document, and be it further resolved, the National Convention section will be updated with the 2012 approved convention rules, election rules, and resolution rules. The Constitution and Bylaws Resolution Committee recommends the resolution be adopted with an amendment. Madam President, on behalf of the Resolutions Committee, I move the adoption of resolution number 21 as just read.
The question is on the adoption of resolution number 21 as just read. The Constitution and Bylaws Pre-Convention Committee recommends the resolution be adopted with amendment. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the delegate at microphone number 2.
Sharon Knatzer, Department of Illinois. On behalf of the Pre-Convention Committee on Constitution and Bylaws, I move to amend resolution number 21 by striking the last resolve and inserting the following. Resolved, all convention standing rules, election rules, and resolution rules will be removed from the National Convention section.
It has been moved to amend the resolution number 21 by striking the last resolve and inserting the following. Resolved, all convention standing rules, election rules, and resolution rules will be removed from the National Convention section. Is there any discussion? Are you ready for the question? Please stand. All those in favor of the amendment, please press number 1 on your electronic voting keypad. Opposed, please press number 2. The voting is closed. Please show the results. 541 in favor, 35 opposed. The affirmative has it, and the amendment is adopted. The question is now on the resolution number 21 as amended, as originally proposed. Is there any discussion? Yes, this is as amended. Are you ready for the question? Please stand. The question is now on resolution number 21 as amended. If you agree, please press 1. Opposed, please press 2. please close the polls, the voting, and show the results. 544 in favor, 19 opposed. The affirmative has it, and the resolution is adopted. Terry, please continue.
Madam President, I would like to take a moment to just give the rest of the report from the Resolutions Committee from our meeting, kind of a synopsis. As everyone has experienced, the Rules Committee pre-convention meeting was held on Saturday in the Wabash 3 room of the Indiana Convention Center. Rosemary Turner offered prayer, and Georgine Buttman led the Pledge of Allegiance. Consent was given to appoint Susan Britton as Secretary and Priscilla Imbergia and Judy Samuelson as Sergeant-at-Arms. Honorary past National President Miriam Youngie welcomed everyone on behalf of National President Chris Nelson. As we know, this year there were 41 housekeeping and 2 other resolutions for consideration. It was a busy year. The first 12 resolutions came to the Resolutions Committee. The rest of the housekeeping resolutions were assigned to the 17 standing committees that matched the section of the policies and procedures from which they came. When the 29 came back from the other committees, they were all compiled. We are pleased to report that of the 41 total, 38 were recommended for approval as they were, 2 more were recommended with amendments, and 1 was recommended to not be adopted. Those have all been handled now. The resolution from Nebraska regarding the Division Vice President's travel was assigned to Constitution and Bylaws, and the National Awareness Campaign was assigned to both Finance and Public Relation. The convention considered both of those following those respective reports. Madam President, in addition to the resolutions that we have handled, tremendous assistance was given by members of the Resolutions Committee this year, not only in the meeting, but also in preparing the courtesy resolutions for this convention. With your permission, Madam President, I'd like them to join us to present the last resolutions. May I have Georgine Buttman from Maine speak first?
Madam President, whereas dedicated delegates, alternates, and guests travel to the beautiful host city of Indianapolis, Indiana, to attend the annual convention of the American Legion Auxiliary and thoughtfully considered the issues placed before them, and whereas national officers, national chairman accepted President Chris's challenge to honor their service, referencing our veterans, their shared leadership, time, talent, celebrated the accomplishments of the members and promoted the programs of our organization. And whereas our devoted past national presidents continue to offer their wisdom, support, and friendship with grace and encouragement. And whereas Convention Chairman Karen Lowe and members of the Department of Indiana have provided countless hours of selfless service to provide numerous courtesies and assistance. And whereas the city, its hotels, local citizens, and convention center staff have warmly welcomed the American Legion Auxiliary family into their community with generosity, hospitality. And whereas the national headquarters staff of the American Legion Auxiliary have worked tirelessly to prepare for this convention to ensure its success, have assisted members all year, and shared our mission in serving veterans, military, and families. Now, therefore, be it resolved that by this courtesy resolution, the American Legion Auxiliary National Convention, assembled here in Indianapolis, Indiana, this 27th day of August 12, 2012, expresses its sincere appreciation and grateful thanks to all these participants who have made this convention an outstanding success with a thunderous applause.
We have a second courtesy resolution, and I would appreciate it if Sue Britton could present that one. And we would like to have Chris, your family, join us.
Madam National President, whereas on September 1st, 2011, Chris Nelson was installed American Legion Auxiliary National President, which changed the daily lives of Chris's family. And whereas her dear family has graciously shared her with this amazing national organization with loving support as she gave this past year of her life to the auxiliary. And whereas that family includes Terry, her husband, best friend, and rock for 38 years, and son Troy and his wife Angie, and daughter Sarah and her husband Kent, and all those wonderful grandchildren Grandma has not been able to spoil. Sydney, 15, Maya, 8, Ty, 5, and little Cruz, who was born last year the same day Chris was installed. And whereas every mother and grandmother in the American Legion Auxiliary understands how Chris has missed her family greatly, really appreciates them, and looks forward to spending quality time with them soon. And whereas the members understand the tremendous, loving sacrifice her family has made this year, now therefore be it resolved that the American Legion Auxiliary National Convention, assembled in Indianapolis, Indiana, express our sincere appreciation for this special family's sacrifice by giving them an appropriate, generous applause.
It's my honor to be standing up in front of all you good-looking ladies that have taken care of my wife and my daughter and son's mother. It's been an extremely wonderful year. Many friends, how well they've taken care of my wife. And I just want to say thank you, and we'll be seeing you around.
And there they are. And the third resolution, whereas on September 1st, 2011, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Chris Nelson from the Department of Minnesota was installed American Legion Auxiliary National President, and whereas President Chris's belief that in the spirit of God and country we serve veterans, military, and their families provided a focus for our mission. And whereas she has represented the American Legion Auxiliary with a friendly, welcoming, open, accepting style, making many friends across the country and around the world. And whereas President Chris has worked with the American Legion Commander Fang Wong and SAL Commander Jim Roberts with an exemplary commitment to advancing and promoting the American Legion family. And whereas she has willingly given a year away from her family, her dear family, who has graciously shared her with this national organization with their loving support. And whereas Chris has diligently and freely shared her year with members and friends, communicating with pictures and words, promoting our mission, now therefore be it resolved that by this courtesy resolution, the American Legion Auxiliary National Convention assembled in Indianapolis, Indiana, this 29th day of August, express our heartfelt appreciation for this special, dedicated national president by giving Chris a standing ovation, saying thank you and a job well done.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I wasn't going to cry. I told myself this morning I'm not going to cry here today, but I want to thank you all so much. I know that anywhere I go in the country, I have friends, and I'd like to thank you all for that. Thank you. We're now going to proceed with the National President's Awards for Excellence.
The American Legion Auxiliary is proud to present the National President's Award for Excellence. This exclusive honor is awarded to the best of our best. The award epitomizes service, not self, by recognizing efforts in planning and implementation of our programs. Here to present is your National President, Chris Nelson.
Today's recipients have each gone above and beyond the call of duty, transforming the words of our mission statement into powerful actions of mission delivery. Through intense planning and precise implementation, what began as a simple goal turned into some of the most amazing, innovative, and powerful examples of the American Legion Auxiliary programs in action. Before we get to today's winners, I would like to recognize all of the units and departments working the auxiliaries, missions, and programs every single day. The hard work that you all do day in and day out, oftentimes without much deserved recognition or thanks, is what keeps our organization alive and carries out its mission. I applaud each and every one of you, and I thank you. Here today to help present a snapshot of the award highlights are Peggy Thomas, Nancy Brown Park, and Janet Jeffords. Peggy, would you please present the first award?
Thank you, Madam President. It gives me great pleasure to announce that the first winner of the National President's Award for Excellence is presented to Lake Stevens Unit 181 in Oak Harbor, Washington, Karen Murray, Unit President. I want to start out by reading an excerpt from a letter written by a mother to Post 181. It reads, May 5 and 7-year-old attended your children's Christmas carnival and had a blast. Everyone there was so friendly. What amazing volunteers. My husband is in the Navy and currently serving in Japan. My kids are dealing with his absence. But it truly is events like your carnival that makes it easier, especially during difficult holidays. Thank you so much for recognizing my husband and our family. We truly appreciate it, the Gleason family. Yes, that's what it's about. Isn't it, ladies? But the Christmas carnival was just the beginning. Unit 181 spent all year working to meet objectives established by various programs in the Youth Development Pod, the Veterans Military Support and Advocacy Pod, and the Family Support Pod. Here are just some of their accomplishments. Identified 8 local children with parents currently serving in the military and had a ceremony where they presented presented with Blue Star service banners. Held a back-to-school drive where they handed out 200 backpacks to the children of the Lake Stevens community. Financially sponsored a youth football team that had 8 players whose parents are active duty Navy. Unit 181 donated almost $1,000 to the team to assist with uniforms and league dues. They also donated Gatorade, power bars, and first aid equipment. Held their winter carnival where 186 military kids enjoyed face painting, sweet treats, card making for soldiers, of course, a surprise visit by Santa. Nearly 300 volunteers helped with this event, and Unit 181 received 4,500 in-kind donations. In March, Unit 181 teamed up with Operation Homefront and hosted a joint baby shower for expectant military mothers. 51 service members and their spouses had a fabulous time thanks to these ladies. Each mother received a bag of new baby items, a great lunch, and an amazing opportunity to bond with other military mothers. Unit 181's juniors logged over 82 hours of community service, and one of their juniors was awarded the Department of Washington Gift Scholarship as well as the Florence Limp Memorial Scholarship. In total, this unit logged over 437 hours assisting the children in their community. And raised over $11,800 in donations used to meet program objectives. Clipped over $300,000 of coupons that were sent to commissaries overseas. Distributed over 10,000 poppies during Veterans and Memorial Day. Participated in a Seattle stand down where they donated 100 gift bags filled with toiletries for female veterans, a donation totaling over $3,000. Wow. You ladies have accomplished so much this year. Having that kind of impact on military families, especially the children, is something I think we all aim to achieve every day. Lake Stevens Unit 181, you are truly amazing.
And they have shared that, she just shared with me that that unit is less than 5 years old. They were chartered less than 5 years ago. Isn't this a beautiful trophy? It sits on a base and it'll be shipped to the unit. And now, National Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation Chairman Nancy Brown Park will present the next award.
And the gold medal in women's floor exercise goes to, just kidding. The second unit to receive the National President's Award for Excellence is Banner Unit 109 in Angler, North Carolina. Unit President Carolyn L. Tart. In most circles, the phrase, "she rides a broom," isn't very nice. But for the ladies of Unit 109, it's a compliment. It means that you are a proud member of their Bucket and Broom Brigade. This brigade of ladies teamed up with the Homeless Veterans Program at the Fayetteville VA and donated buckets, mops, comfort items, and furnishings, all for traditional veterans. While all veterans are the priority of Unit 109, this past year they gave special emphasis on homeless veterans. Here's an idea of what they did. Sponsored a homeless women's veterans transition into temporary HUD housing for Operation Mattress Firm. This homeless veteran was a single woman with 2 kids, and Unit 109 provided her with transportation, home furnishings, kitchen appliances, and school supplies for her kids. Donated comfort items, buddy baskets, and other needed supplies to the homeless veterans programs at the Fayetteville VA. Donated mattresses, beds, gas cards, grocery gift cards, holiday presents, and a computer to the OIF OEF OND transition program. sponsored a youth volunteer picnic at the Fayetteville VA, just part of their 1,243 volunteer hours served at the VA. Donated school supplies to the Veterans in the Classroom program, dedicated to providing educational opportunities to our veterans when they return home. Made over 100 yellow bows and displayed them around town. Volunteered at Operation Homefront Tent at the Military Appreciation Day. Held a Gold Star ceremony and presented 19 Gold Star banners to moms at the Children of Fallen Soldiers event, as well as presented 8 Blue Star banners. They held a pocket flag folding class for 300 and presented a flag history seminar for the attendees. Cooked the celebratory meal for the Junior ROTC Military Ball. In total, Banner Unit 109 volunteered nearly 2,000 hours and over $32,000 to veterans and military projects. I present to you the National President's Award for Excellence. Thank you for all you do to honor our faces of freedom.
And now, Children and Youth Chairman Janet Jefford will present the next award. Janet?
Today, I have the privilege of announcing the third unit to receive the National President's Award for Excellence. The third award goes to Johnson, Nichols, Coleman, Olson, Unit 53 of Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Unit President Judy Walters. Unit 53's motto this year was "Actions speak louder than words." And I'm here to tell you, these ladies know how to make some noise. Working to fulfill the objectives set by the various programs in the Veteran Military Support and Advocacy Pod, they set out to educate their members on the problems faced by homeless veterans. They achieved this goal by creating a workshop they called Making Connections, Women to Women. The workshop partnered the Department of Wisconsin with the VA Center and focused on issues like mental illness and substance abuse in homeless veterans. Unit 53 also promoted and assisted with events that helped both male and female homeless veterans. For example, they partnered with their VA and provided supplies and business suits to ready veterans for job interviews, served a Christmas meal for homeless veterans, and gifted them stockings filled with toiletries and personal care items. Worked with Gold Star mothers to create backpacks filled with paper, pens, envelopes, and stamps, and delivered them to the VA Center. Held a holiday stand-down for women veterans, where they collected clothing, personal items, non-perishable food, household items, and bed linens. Not only were homeless veterans a top priority, Unit 53 also wanted to assure that homebound veterans and veterans living in nursing homes were not forgotten. On various holidays, they get together to write letters and send cards to local nursing homes for their veterans. On Memorial Day, they provided local nursing homes with poppies to be placed on the food tray of every veteran. Finally, Unit 53 supported the Camo Quilt Project by completing 216 camo quilts and volunteering almost 2,000 hours. They also had local school children write thank you notes to veterans and included them with each quilt as a surprise for the recipient. In honor of the work they did with the Camo Quilt Project, Unit 53 received a certificate and United States flag from the Air Force. The flag was flown over Afghanistan on January 9, 2012. The women of Unit 53 finished the year having volunteered nearly 1,000 hours, raising $5,000 and collecting over $6,000 in in-kind donations. You are shining examples of what wonderful things can be accomplished through preparation, dedication, and service to others. Thank you.
That's really good.
The fourth unit to receive, oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to do this. Here again is National Vice President Peggy Thomas to give the fourth unit their award.
The fourth unit to receive the National President's Award for Excellence is Clarence L. Tinker, Unit 170, Midwest, Oklahoma. Unit President Sherry Bertolaski. I probably butchered that. This unit took National President Chris Nelson's motto, service not self, to heart, and volunteered nearly 8,000 hours of their time, spent almost $20,000 of their own money, and drove over 20,000 miles to assist veterans, military families, and their families. After attending the mission training held in Mobile, Alabama, Unit 170 President Cherie refocused her ladies on the ALA mission. Together, all the members of Unit 170 worked to support these veterans who were returning home, retired, or homeless. And here is how they did it. Working the Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation Program, Unit 170 volunteered over 1,500 hours, donated over $8,000, and drove over 5,000 miles to assist veterans. Collected and donated clothing during a stand down in Oklahoma City, provided food, clothing, and toiletries for Oklahoma City's Friendship House, a VA-funded facility for recovering veterans. Created a Christmas card tour where they toured 2 VA hospitals and 7 VA centers, passing out Christmas cards and gifts to veterans served on the Board of State. Accrediting in support of GI Bills to help veterans pay for college, non-college training, and on-the-job training. Held a Poppy Day to receive donations and create awareness of the meaning behind the poppy. Collected and donated clothing, books, magazines, and computers to the Oklahoma City VA Hospital and Norman's Veterans Center. During the holiday season, instead of buddy baskets, they created service stockings filled with sweet treats, notebooks, pens, bath towels, washcloths, and other needed items, and delivered them to the VA Friendship House. Coordinated with the 45th Infantry Family Readiness Group to host a holiday party for families of deployed reservists. Unit members baked over 30 dozen holiday cookies and worked with Operation Military Kids to secure Nintendo games for the kids. Well, Unit 170, I would say you definitely understand our motto. In the spirit of God and country, we serve veterans, military, and their families. You are truly amazing representatives of this great organization. Thank you.
She said I was a good secret keeper. And now to the final unit level recipient of the 2012 National President's Award for Excellence. The award goes to Palmer Roberts, Unit 214 in Willoughby, Ohio. Martha C. Setlock, President. If she's here, come on up, Martha. This unit set their sights high this year and hit their target. To even be considered for the President's Award for Excellence, a unit must demonstrate service activities in at least 3 auxiliary programs. This unit demonstrated activities in 7 different programs. Unit 214 encouraged children to be patriots. Members went to local schools to present flag education programs. In November of last year, they spoke to over 300 sixth graders, and veterans joined them to share stories about life in the military with the children. Unit 214 also took their flag education program to Lake Erie College, where they gave instruction for proper flag disposal. They helped many people, including a group of adults with disabilities, dispose of flags in an appropriate manner. Also in November, Unit 214 hosted a dinner for over 100 attendees, 50 of whom were veterans. Junior members of the unit were also active. On Palm Sunday, juniors took 75 Easter treat bags to a nursing home and visited with residents. The unit collected over $450 worth of school supplies and delivered them to 5 different schools. They handed out scholarship applications at the local high schools. And they participated in American Education Week and Teacher Appreciation Days by foregoing the apples and instead handing out cookies. They assisted community groups in preparing more than 100 holiday baskets to be handed out to local military families. Unit 214 had 22 new members join this year and attribute that to their public relations efforts. 45 articles, a letter to the editor, 6 print advertisements, and 1 press release were published in 3 different local newspapers. And Unit 214 honored the service of a young boy, the son of a 70-year-old veteran. The veteran, a single father, has many medical conditions and requires daily assistance from his 11-year-old son. Many times a week, the young boy makes trips to the grocery store on foot. And on 4 separate occasions, the boy has found his father unconscious and dialed 911. Paramedics say his actions have saved his father's life. Unit 214 paired up with 3 other Legion posts to raise funds to buy the boy a bicycle and a lock to help him carry the groceries. They went to school and presented those items to him and gave him the Youth Hero Award. It is an honor today. It is an honor today to present you with this award and to celebrate all of your amazing actions and milestones this past year. Congratulations. To all of the units on stage and to all of you who worked on our mission every day, again I say a big thank you and ask that you please take some time to celebrate all that you've achieved this year. And now for the final award. It's time to announce the department recipient of the National President's Award for Excellence. And the department recipient is, can I get a drum roll please? That's better. And the department recipient is the Department of Delaware, Beth McGinn, President. The Department of Delaware accomplishes so much over the past year. If I told you all that they had done, we'd be here for another whole year. But I'm going to try some of the highlights. The Department of Delaware folded over 900 pocket flags to hand out at deployment ceremonies, included in packages to troops and given to Operation Military Kids camps. They participated in a candlelight ceremony for the 10th anniversary of 9/11 by reading poems, prayers, singing songs, and handing out refreshments. Unit 28 planted and tended to a victory garden that supplied fresh vegetables to homeless shelters and children's lunches. They held a health fair and flu shot program at a local post. On Dr. Martin Luther King Day Jr., 80 volunteers helped assemble more than 305 buddy baskets to give to homeless veterans transitioning to new housing. They participated in the Yellow Ribbon Reintegration Program, in which units made over 700 yellow ribbons to decorate their communities. They participated in Heroes to Homes program, through which 3 homeless veterans have secured permanent housing. They distributed over 16,800 poppies and raised $9,700. Unit 28 mailed 36 boxes every single month to the troops. Thank you, Department of Delaware, for being active and enthusiastic members. You have embodied service, not self, this past year. Right. I'm honored to present this award to you. I got to go to Delaware and see them in action and participate in some of those events. Congratulations, Delaware. Stand up and give yourself a hand. As I mentioned before, I find it hard to only share a portion of what all these units and departments have done over the past year. I want to share everything that you have all done. The American Legion Auxiliary is full of wonderful members, and it was my honor to serve as your national president this year. Without all of you, none of this would be possible. I want to encourage you all to submit your applications for next year's awards. I look forward to joining you in celebration next year. Once again, congratulations to the units and the departments. Let's give them another round of applause. Debbie is going to give announcements, but please don't leave because I'd like you to see my end of the year video. Debbie?
Thank you, Madam President. In the interest of time, I'm going to speed through these, so as my late mother would say, listen up. States Department tickets still available from the following states. Make noises, I holler out. Kansas has one. That was lame. So that people know where you are really quickly, Kansas has one. Wisconsin has 3. Massachusetts has 1. Washington State has 1. Pictures, announcements. Would all of the milestone 4 winners who were recognized on stage earlier please come backstage for photos? Would all of the National President's Award for Excellence recipients please also come backstage for photos to be taken by National Headquarters staff? And please, we ask only those winners, the appropriate people, be back there. There's a lot of congestion going on. Others who want to take pictures, you may stage them out here in front upon conclusion. Remember to turn in your keypads. This meeting will not adjourn until all the voting keypads have been returned. Reminder, lost and found, the number is 3350 on any of the convention phones. The VANR committee wishes to share that at its pre-con committee meeting, over $6,000 was raised for the National Veterans Creative Arts Festival. A quick moment for a challenge. Ramona Hendricks, who is a dual member of Illinois, has been a member for 90 years. Has anyone in attendance at this convention been a member for more than 90 years? Please stand up and holler. Holler out. Has anyone been here been a member longer than 90 years? Is there a yes? Holler out a name and a department. Holler so we can hear you. Holler out a name and a department. I know. The challenge is, has anyone been a member longer than 90 years? Ramona, you win again. And who has attended more than 51 American Legion Auxiliary National Conventions? Holler out your name. Olga Terrell from Florida. All right. How many? 65 conventions. Governor Romney, a reminder to pages, please pick up all the articles in the mailroom before it closes. Governor Romney will address a joint session at approximately 3 p.m. For general attendees, the doors will not be locked, so you will have time to get over there and get in. Finally, please do not take, draw on, or sign your department or state signs. We are very frugal with your money, and we reuse those every year. We had to replace many of them, and if you want such mementos, we will have to start charging you for them. So please leave them there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. While we're getting ready for the close of the convention, we will be resetting the stage. I ask the national officers to leave the stage, and at this time, welcome my family, Terry, Kent, Sarah Cruz, my brother and sister-in-law, Norman, Katie, and Herb and Darlene to join me on the stage. You can watch it down here, you guys. I don't think you met earlier. My brother and sister-in-laws came today, Norman, Katie, Nelson, and Herb and Darlene. And then we have some very close friends here. You've met their wives, Tom Johnson and Rory Fredstrom. Thank you. Okay, JP, we're ready.
I solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to the regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God.
That's quite a promise those young men and women make when they join the United States military. They honor that promise when they head out for basic training, attend the additional training to develop the knowledge and skills needed to fulfill that promise, and make the choice to call any one of our nation's 761 military bases around the world home. They honor that promise when, as civilians, they leave their homes for weekend drills, stand at the ready for their nation's defense, and leave established jobs and homes when their nation calls, not knowing if those jobs and homes will be there when they return. They honor that promise when they deploy overseas, leaving their loved ones behind, and face the enemy that threatens our freedom and the freedoms of a vulnerable world. They honor that promise when they return home, some to loving and waiting families that have grown or changed in their absence, some to continue fighting as they learn to walk again, adjust to prosthetic limbs, or adapt to a life without the limbs they took for granted before their deployment, or battle the very real struggles of PTSD, or find themselves homeless. And far, far too many honor that promise when they make the ultimate sacrifice, coming home in a casket draped by a U.S. flag, or leaving a family to try to comprehend what the letters POW and MIA could possibly mean. And because they honored that promise they made when they enlisted to serve our country, we honor them through our membership and service in the American Legion Auxiliary. Although it's a sacrifice I can never fully understand, and a debt I can certainly never repay, I joined the American Legion Auxiliary 29 years ago to attempt to give back to those who have given us so much. And a year ago, when I was elected to serve as your national president, I made a pledge of service once again to honor their service. Honoring their service, it's why I joined the American Legion Auxiliary. and why you did too. So choosing that as my National President's theme seemed like the natural thing to do. And with so much going on this year and so many places to be, I thought those 3 words would help center me, keep me focused on what our mission is all about, and remind me at the end of many long days ahead that although I may be tired, I was honoring their service, and that's the least I could do. I hoped you would all accept my theme, but I had no idea how much you would embrace it, and I thank you for that. Throughout my travels this year, I was thrilled to walk into training sessions, American Legion Auxiliary Girls State Assemblies, and unit meetings to see auxiliary members proudly wearing their Honor Their Service buttons, displaying a veteran who made them eligible for membership close to their hearts. I enjoyed hearing the stories of your fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, and grandparents who made you eligible for the American Legion Auxiliary membership. It seemed every time I heard someone talking about a loved one on their button, there were 2 or 3 other members standing nearby, nodding their heads as though they understood you and that connection that binds us all. You could almost see a tangible recommitment to the auxiliary and a renewed appreciation for our fellow auxiliary members with each and every story shared. I think that's important for 2 reasons. It's a visual reminder of why we all join the auxiliary, the common bond we share. Secondly, it's a powerful way to share the importance of our mission with those outside our organization. How many women must there be out there who have similar stories of loved ones and patriotism who don't yet belong to our organization? We need to hear their stories and let them know how they can continue to honor the service of their loved ones by becoming a member of the American Legion Auxiliary. We also need to share our stories with our legislators and local media so they can honor their service too, with laws that protect our veterans' rights and media coverage that is honorable and respectful. As the result of one of the pod projects, many units took the honor theme further by creating honor walls to display images of their veterans at local posts. I love this idea. It's hard to forget why you're there with the eyes of your loved ones staring back at you, our faces of freedom. The honor walls seem to make each post I visited feel like home. I know my home is filled with photos of the people who mean the most to me, my family. And family is a word that came to mind often this past year. There are many types of families. Ultimately, we are all one family serving under God, brothers and sisters with one Heavenly Father who guides this organization and the work we do. There's my own family who made many sacrifices this year, living without me, supporting me, and embracing the service I was giving as I represented our members and our organization. The American Legion family, the American Legion Auxiliary, the American Legion, the Sons of the American Legion, and the American Legion Riders all make up this very special family of ours. And while they might not be the folks we come home to at night, they are truly family, connected by the blood and sacrifices of our relatives who gave so much so that we can all be here today. Then, there are the military families. Many of those families are missing a mother, father, brother, or sister at home because they are serving overseas. And when a soldier is activated and deployed, it is our duty to be there and meet the needs of the family left at home, the unsung heroes of this war. And there's our American Legion Auxiliary National Headquarters family, who often reminds me of what family is all about. Growing up, we often don't always appreciate our family like we should. We sometimes take things for granted. And yet, when we stumble or are in need, they are always there for us. That's why I created 2 awards this year to recognize the efforts of our National Headquarters family, the Mission Mover and Shining Star Awards. The service opportunities made available to all Legion family members proved once again that working together as a family is always win-win, whereby we each receive much more than we give. Less than a month after my installation as National President, I began to learn more about our Legion family and about honoring the service of our veterans, active duty military, and fallen heroes. I was honored to serve alongside American Legion National Commander Fang Wong, who volunteered for the U.S. Army in 1969, served more than 2 years in Vietnam, and retired from the Army as Chief Warrant Officer. and SAL National Commander Jim Roberts, who embodies Legion family. He's been an SAL member for 35 years, is married to Anita, an auxiliary member, and has 2 teenage daughters in the Auxiliary Junior Unit in Pine Castle, Florida. Commander Wong and his wife Barbara have both been very active in the Legion family since the 1970s. They were both instrumental in directing relief efforts after 9/11 through their posts in Chinatown. One of my first official visits was to the World Trade Center Museum in New York City, where missing person signs and mementos line the walls. Nancy Brown Park and I laid a wreath to commemorate the 10th anniversary of 9/11. On this visit, I met 9/11 survivors, family members of the fallen, and the firemen of Ladder Engine Company Number 10, the department closest to Ground Zero. A bronze memorial sits outside their station and reads, "Dedicated to those who fell and those who carry on." Clearly, that was a day that changed the lives of many, changing the face of our military right along with it. For most of us, it was the first time witnessing a terrorist attack on U.S. soil. Many joined the military because of what happened that day. Many more rethought what it meant to be an American and enjoy the freedoms we have taken for granted for so long. But in the words of President George W. Bush, these acts shattered steel, but couldn't bend the steel of American resolve. Days later, I attended the National Commander's testimony before the Senate and House Committees on Veterans Affairs, where jobless veterans and claims backlogs were among the topics in his address. Following his testimony, the National Commander invited me to join him in meeting with senators on Capitol Hill to further discuss veterans issues, specifically to discuss the VA budget and ask that they not make cuts to the veterans' benefits. As I left Washington, D.C., I was really starting to feel the true momentum of the Legion family at work. Already, from Minneapolis to New York to D.C., great works were taking place by the American Legion families. As the commander remained in D.C., I headed to my next department visit in California, where I visited Naomi House, my first visit to transitional housing for homeless veterans. Naomi House specifically serves women veterans. I visited several transitional homes throughout my year as national president, including Henderson House, another transitional living center for homeless women veterans, different in that it welcomed dependent children. Our members need to spread the word that it is a safe place to go to these facilities. In Maine, at the junior department meeting, the girls dressed up like homeless women, even utilizing a shopping cart to raise awareness and funds for the homeless in their state. I have been very impressed with our junior members. In Nevada, because of limited funds, they held a virtual slumber party where juniors across the state could participate in the same activities. In New Hampshire, 2 young juniors taught me how to make a poppy in front of local media. The publicity generated from this event helped demonstrate how the poppy program goes full circle, with poppies being made by veterans, purchased by units, distributed by members, and the funds going right back to veterans. During our President and Secretary training, we focused on generational differences and communication styles of members, which offered some important reminders about appreciating those differences and learning from them. On every department visit, I asked each unit to seek out service projects that would be impactful and meaningful to our younger generation, so they would feel their membership is valuable. One of our auxiliary signature programs is the National Veterans Creative Arts Festival. This year, I met some amazing and talented veterans and witnessed the healing power of the arts.
That tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow till there's none. When I'm stuck with the day that's gray and lonely, I just stick out my chin and grin and say,
I also attended several local competitions and heard the veteran stories of how and why their art was created. In November, I attended a moving Veterans Day memorial in Washington, D.C., where we placed wreaths to honor all of our veterans. The day was 11/11/11, which made the day extra memorable. During this visit, our DC Director, Bob Reeg, and I also met with the Corporation for National Community Service, who funds our AmeriCorps and VISTA programs, which this year topped the $3 million in human resources donation. My husband Terry and I then departed on a Far East tour to join Commander Wong and his wife Barbara on a goodwill and morale tour. In South Korea, we visited Osan Air Force Base and Camp Humphrey. The Korean American Friendship Association hosted a dinner for 300 soldiers unaccompanied by their families. Later that week, we met with the staff of the American Embassy, where we were briefed on the relationship between Korea and the United States. On Thanksgiving Day, we visited the DMZ zone, though the highlight of the day was serving Thanksgiving dinner to the troops stationed there. From Korea, we flew to Okinawa, where we toured Kadena Air Force Base and were briefed on the Pacific operations. In Taiwan, we met with President Ma Jing-jin, who discussed the relationship between our countries going back as far as World War II with the Flying Dragons. One of the most moving moments in Taiwan was a visit to the POW Memorial. I learned there were 8 Japanese POW camps in Taiwan during World War II. We visited a camp museum where the visiting school children were eager to meet us. The Taiwan government also flew us to Kinmen Island, a 150 square kilometer island that is strategic to Taiwan's defense. As recent as 1974, the U.S. sent artillery to assist Taiwan in protecting the island from mainland China. From there, we went to the island of Guam, where we visited the U.S. Naval Base, the Naval Facilities Engineering Command, and the War Dog Cemetery. In Hawaii, we visited Hickam Air Force Base and met with the commander of the U.S. Pacific Fleet. We visited the Punch Bowl, a beautiful cemetery and a wonderful place to honor the service of America's fallen heroes. White wreaths were placed on the graves of more than 2,000 unknown fallen heroes by local Boy Scouts. At the 70th anniversary of Pearl Harbor, we placed wreaths on behalf of the American Legion family. I was honored to meet Albert Thomas, a Pearl Harbor survivor who went on to serve in 5 countries in the 5th Army under General Patton. On December 9th, we were humbled to take part in a repatriation ceremony where 6 sets of remains were returned to the U.S. for identification, 3 from World War II and 3 from Vietnam. When visiting Puerto Rico in January, I encouraged the American Legion family to work together to build their membership, working as a family. They were the first department to reach their 100% numeric objective. Throughout the year, I visited many hospitals, clinics, transitional, and community living centers, including the new VA Southeast Primary Clinic in Henderson, Nevada, which had opened in 2010. I enjoyed a wonderful tour and was pleased to meet a number of our VA-VS volunteers. In Virginia, National Vice President Peggy Thomas and I toured the McGuire VA Hospital in Richmond, one of the largest in the country. It's the only VA in the country that performs in-house heart transplants. And I was lucky enough to meet one of the heart recipients while I was there. He just happened to be a proud Legionnaire. I also visited the Liver and Kidney VA Transplant Center in Washington, where members of the Departments of Washington and Oregon cooked and served a picnic lunch to residents awaiting or recovering from a transplant. These departments each donate $400 per month to keep the kitchen stocked at these facilities. The Arizona stand-down was one of my most rewarding experiences. I enjoyed spending the day with amazing Legion family volunteers and a veteran named James, who was very appreciative to learn about the services that were offered to him. He left excited knowing he would soon have a job and permanent housing. Later in the day, we visited the National Memorial Cemetery of Arizona. Throughout my travels, I was fortunate to visit numerous cemeteries and was honored to place 14 wreaths in remembrance. At the Washington, D.C. conference, nearly 50 department contingents visited congressional representatives or a member of their staff to discuss the American Legion legislative priorities prior to the 112th Congress in 2012. In preparation for their visit to Capitol Hill, Conference attendees were briefed on key legislative issues. That week, I had the honor of presenting the American Legion Auxiliary Public Spirit Award to Colonel Jill Chambers of This Able Vet and Michael Peterson of Tag You're It. The work done by Colonel Chambers and Michael Peterson is perfectly aligned with our mission of serving veterans, active duty military, and their families. In June, I had the privilege of commemorating the 68th anniversary of D-Day, along with Legion National Commander Fang Wang. We were honored to attend the annual Association Day Amide American banquet in St. Mary Glace, the first town liberated by the U.S. Allied invasion of Normandy on June 6, 1944. We attended a ceremony at the Airborne Museum where 35 U.S. D-Day veterans were honored. Cadets from the Air Force Academy spent the week as escorts for those 35 veterans, our American heroes. One of the highlights of the trip was a reenactment of the paratroopers landing performed by U.S. military and 4 other countries. Commander Wang and I were proud to raise the flag over the American cemetery prior to a wreath-laying ceremony on June 6 at Normandy Beach. It was a day I will never forget. More than 9,000 American soldiers are laid to rest there. It felt like their spirits are with us. Representing our organization in the Far East and Europe gave me a great knowledge of how very much we are respected across the globe and how much foreign citizens appreciate our veterans and military for continuing to protect the freedoms and liberate not only the United States, but global communities. I started my summer with a bang, attending several department conventions, including the Department of Kentucky. While there, I visited Kentucky's Healing Field in Lawrenceburg. The Healing Field honors Kentucky's fallen heroes who served and lost their lives in the War on Terror. There are now 110 flags in memory of Kentucky soldiers who lost their lives in Iraq and Afghanistan. This was especially meaningful to me as the department received a national award for this when I was Americanism chairman. I have personally been involved in Girls State for more than 25 years. This year I attended Badger Girls State in Wisconsin, where Governor Scott Walker addressed the 736 girls in attendance. And I was blown away by the longtime volunteer who in her 90s can still excite the crowd. I also attended Louisiana Girls State, where I enjoyed listening to the Nats and the Feds speeches and taking in the girls' heartfelt enthusiasm. Of course, they let me also get in on the fun, participating in one of their skits. The girls also made a generous donation to Operation Military Kids. In July, I joined our 98 Girls Nation senators, volunteers, and staff members at Bethesda Hospital for a picnic to honor the true faces of freedom. What an unforgettable experience. While visiting several military bases, I was proud to witness the dedication of our young men and women in uniform. In South Carolina, I spent the day with new recruits on their 3rd day of basic training at Fort Jackson. After witnessing their grueling schedule, I left with a true appreciation that my husband is the veteran and not me. While in Bangor, Maine, 148 troops came home from Iraq. It was one of the proudest and most emotional moments of my year, shaking each of their hands and welcoming them home. Over 1.4 million soldiers have come through Bangor, Maine on their return to the United States. And there have always been American Legion family members there to welcome them home, no matter what time of day or night. While visiting Wisconsin, I witnessed an amazing example of volunteerism. The Camel Quilt Project began with a simple need from a soldier headed for Iraq who asked his mother-in-law to make a quilt. This simple act of kindness of one quilt has turned into a major volunteer opportunity, creating over 17,000 camel quilts for all branches of the military. Another visit I will never forget was to Landstuhl, Germany. When we arrived, ambulances were speeding in with wounded soldiers back from Afghanistan. Even with their devastating injuries, their biggest concern was who was taking care of their families. I immediately gave 2 of them my card and said, the American Legion Auxiliary will take care of your family. I will personally see to it. I have never been more proud of being part of an organization that supports these heroes. Again, our Faces of Freedom. Another signature program, Children and Youth, awards members the opportunity to support these soldiers' children, filling hero packs and family packs, encouraging open communications between soldiers, both while deployed and returning home. The American Legion invited me to experience junior shooting sports competition, as well as the American Legion World Series, where our youth heroes really shine. As a family, we have accomplished some remarkable things this year to honor the service of our veterans. Our spirit of service, not self, is alive and well, and our members diligently worked our program, inviting community members to join them, mentoring junior members, supporting our veterans, serving at VA hospitals and clinics, contributing thousands of volunteer hours, as field service and home service volunteers, embracing the needs of our active military and their families. To accomplish these tasks and better fulfill our mission, we conducted 5 mission trainings across the country, encouraging our members to seek out service projects. It truly has been an amazing year. We worked hard, but we also had a lot of fun. As I end my term, I leave inspired by the service we continue to give, humbled by the opportunity that you all gave to me, thankful to our veterans and military who continue to give back to our nation to protect our freedom, concerned about the continual decrease in membership, energized that thousands of members have embraced our mission and will continue to seek service opportunities, ready to go back home with Terry, eager to spend more time with my family, waiting for the hugs and kisses of my grandchildren. I am proud of our accomplishments. It has truly been an honor to serve as your national president and honor the service of those who have served us in preserving and protecting our nation's freedom. As of July 1st, 2012, 2,028 men and women have died serving in Operation Enduring Freedom. In total, 16,842 were wounded in action. 4,409 have died defending Operation Iraqi Freedom. 31,926 young Americans have been wounded in action. The need for our veterans' benefits and the work of the American Legion Auxiliary has never been greater. So as I end my year as national president, I know there is much work left to do. I am confident that this organization is in capable hands as I pass the torch to my friend and your future leader, Peggy Thomas. May she carry that torch with pride, honor, and humility, and may she enjoy it as much as I have. Our organization is in good hands with the future leadership. They are compassionate and dedicated. Thank you all for this opportunity. God bless each of you. God bless our veterans. God bless our military. And may God continue to bless America.
Thank you all very much. What an incredible year, and what an honor to represent you as your national president. Some of you may know I take a lot of photos, so as we're dismissed, feel free to watch a montage of the pictures of my visits to your units and departments. In my travels on your behalf, I have been inspired by hundreds of Faces of Freedom, and I know those faces have been an inspiration to all of us. Keep looking into their eyes. Always remember that they're people and not a statistic. Continue to remember that we're here for those faces, that those faces need us. As I mentioned in my video, you are in good hands under the leadership of my good friend, Peggy Thomas. She'll make sure those faces are our first priority. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your 2012-2013 National President from the Department of Virginia, Peggy Thomas.
Thank you all for your trust. Tomorrow morning, I'm going briefly to talk about the importance of dreams and my dream for the future of the American Legion Auxiliary. I look forward to carrying on the work that Chris Nelson has done. Great work, great job. And I'm counting all of you.
Thank you.
And I'm counting on all of you to make the American Legion Auxiliary an organization that truly serves our veterans, active military, and their families. I'm counting on you, Chris.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for everything you've done for our veterans, our military, and their families. God bless each of you. God bless our veterans. God bless our military. And may God continue to bless America. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 for Peggy's installation ceremony. Now we're going to see the president.
Don't wake me up if I'm dreaming. Don't let me fall asleep if this dream is coming true. Your love's enough to keep me breathing. And all I want to do is keep dreaming of you. My love was a lonesome road until you came along. Where you looked at me as if to say I'm right where you belong. You stopped me my tracks, and the next thing that I knew, there was a ring upon my hand and I was lying next to you. So don't wake me up if I'm dreaming, and don't let me fall asleep if this dream is coming true. Your love's enough to keep me breathing, and all I want to do is keep dreaming of you. Well, I read stories, I read books about how love should be, but the written word did not express what your love does to me. I love to share our secret, but I don't know where to start, 'cause I cannot put on paper what's been written on my heart. Don't wake me up if I'm dreaming, and don't let me fall asleep if this dream is coming true. Your love's enough to keep me breathing, and all I want to do is keep dreaming of you. You don't have to worry about me calling out another lover's name. If you see me smiling in my sleep, darling, you're the one to blame, 'cause you're the only dream I dream. Don't wake me up if I'm dreaming, don't let me fall asleep if this dream is coming true. Your love's enough to keep me breathing.